I got my diagnosis about PCOS about 10 years ago. I was experiencing challenges getting my menstrual periods. I could go months and sometimes a year without getting my periods. So I figured it was an issue. When I visited the doctor, certain tests were made and I was given the diagnosis. I've not disclosed this diagnosis to any of my family members or friends because, one, I feel like it's personal information, so I feel like it would be invading my privacy, but also it feels like a shame, or even some of them might look at it as a curse, so I wouldn't want to be looked at in that light. That diagnosis, one, made me feel vulnerable, sad, and a bit unlucky. When I got that diagnosis, I asked God why this particular one. And in a minute, I also wondered, I prayed to God, I wish He had given me another thing. But as a way of God speaking back to me, he would say, what other would you choose? And I wouldn't think of any other disease I would prefer. But it really made me feel sad, and you also get to feel less of a woman. I've definitely thought about treatment, and there are several I've embarked on, but just like when you visit the doctor usually gives you two options in regards to treatment. They ask you, would you want to conceive or do you want to see your periods? Now, earlier on in the diagnosis, I would say I would want to get my periods, but it was also partly because I didn't have the full information of what this disease is and its impact. Different treatments I've taken on earlier on in the diagnosis. I took on treatment, the normal, they give you the pill plans, the normal pills that women take to prevent pregnancy, but in this case they are the ones to treat this condition. And when you would take them like for a month, you would be able to get your periods, but if you get off them, you would still, the problem still resurfaces. So there came a challenge where I had to embark on treatment that would maybe lead to conceiving, and the challenge was, at the time, I didn't have a partner. So treating this disease, PCOS, when you don't have a partner also poses as a challenge, because in the end of it all, you have to resolve to have, to try to conceive. With the different treatments available, like when you go to see a doctor, the several treatments that are usually presented to you are going to be based on whether you have a partner at the moment or not. And also the age is also a factor. So you find that with this disease, and in particular PCOS, you're in a race against time, age, and also a partner. So sometimes you find that you've not yet maybe been able to get a partner to try with, and time is running out. Maybe the age is, you're getting a bit older, and with PCOS and the treatments, we are advised to try as soon as possible. So that really poses as a challenge. Having this disease often leads me to have to compromise on who would be my ideal partner to start a family with, because often I have to put the time aspect into it, more so putting it before what I would require as a person, if I was in a normal health condition. So the infertility and PCOS in particular makes me put my personal desires as a human being aside and put the time and pressure aspect before everything else. With PCOS, I tend, as a symptom of the disease, I tend to have lots of mood swings, ups and downs in my mood. So the coping mechanism really varies. It can't all be the same method all around. But basically, I try to lean more towards my faith, towards my God. Like I shared, I've not shared this with so many people, or no family member or friend that knows this situation. So my only resolve or person that I go to is my God. So my faith has definitely been everything for me. Previously, I had never heard about any support groups in Uganda, specifically where I reside, and it was a challenge because I always felt like it was important to reach out to someone who will understand exactly what I'm going through. The support groups, I've come across RHF, which has been a very beautiful support group, especially dealing with fertility issues here in Uganda. It's one of a kind. I had not heard of any other group doing the same. With RHF, I have friends, I have a family that makes me feel comfortable to talk about my condition, and it's a group of ladies that truly understand this situation and the language that I speak health-wise. PCOS has impacted my relationship with my God in different ways. I could say in certain times I'm a bit distant and I have questions towards God, wondering why he had to choose this for me. But also on the other hand, it makes my relationship with God closer, because at the end of it all, I realize that it is him that I have to rely on, and it's him that will make a way for me and will heal me. PCOS has definitely had an impact on my relationships, let me say like friends, since it has an aspect of having varying mood swings. Oftentimes your friends might not understand why you're not in the mood or why you're irritable at certain times, so you may choose to withdraw from them and they may not understand, but it could be to protect them from some of those mood swings. And also family, the fact that I've not been open enough to share with my family. We are also distant because they don't really know what's really going on in my life. My words of advice to, first of all, the parents out there, because as we understand, PCOS is something that would be approached better if you're able to detect it among your young daughter at a young age. So let us not be shy at taking our children who are as young as, let's say, 14, as long as they hit puberty, take them out there to the doctor's appointments and seek for the right tests. Let us approach the reproductive health boldly, even at such a young age. And my advice to the community is for them to be sensitive to people around them. You don't know what someone is facing. You don't know what words may be a trigger. And to women especially, you may desist from asking them questions relating to their their fertility, like how come you're not conceiving, how come, maybe olimogomba, such words, and they are really not good. And to the doctors, as they approach PCOS, they should also tackle the issue of mental health, because it is something that is common associated with PCOS. So it affects, yes, the disease may affect your ovaries and reproductive health, but it also affects your mental health as well. So they should also tackle that alongside the PCOS treatment.